Module 3, Part 1, What the Human Experience of Work Is and What It Is Not. If we want to understand the human experience of work and how it works, and the tools and methods we use, we need to look at the older siblings of user experience, or UX, and customer experience, or CX, since they work exactly the same way. UX and CX are the first two ways of experience. Don Norman is one of the pioneers of human-centered design, a pillar of UX, CX, and HX. He worked for Apple and in 1995 first used the job title UX designer. This is how he defines the user experience. It encompasses all aspects of the end user's interaction with the company, its services, and its products. Don later said, "I invented the term because I wanted to cover all aspects of the person's experience with a system, including how it's designed, the graphics, the interface, the physical interaction, and the manual." Here is a commonly accepted definition of customer experience: the holistic perception your customers have of your brand throughout all aspects of the buyer's journey. The first roles in CX were observed around the year 2005. If we look at these two definitions for customer and user experience, what do you notice that they have in common? Well, you might say it's a holistic end-to-end view. It also is the perception that people have, or how they feel about it, how they perceive it, what is memorable. And it tends to be a much larger understanding than just a particular interaction. So let's look into a user story to help us understand a little bit more about how we might define user and customer experiences, and perhaps help us define what the human experience of work might be. In 2018, we were working with Allianz in Munich to help them develop some internal technology products that would deliver greater value to users. Their internal IT team each year created over 100 product offerings for employees, the company intranet, their web pages, their software and hardware solutions. For internal users, they wanted us to help them discover which offerings to focus on and build some metrics. We suggested that we spend some time with end users of their products. At first, they were skeptical and a little defensive, but they'd agreed to do a UX research session with several end users. After observing these people, who were their internal customers, use their products, asking them some great questions, and mapping out their end-to-end experience with the pain points, the problems to solve, etc., one of their senior product owners turned to me and said, "Now I know how it feels to use my products." This was quite a breakthrough and enabled them to develop more focused and prioritized solutions. So if we take that understanding of how it feels, what would you expect to find as a definition of HX? How about this definition? How it feels to work here. This would cover all the interactions in working for an organization over the duration of their relationship. This model of an end-to-end colleague journey was developed with our HX Leaders Network, a group of about 30 leaders of HX in their respective companies from around the world, especially drawing on the model from IBM and Microsoft. What's significant about this model is the closer the circle is to the human at the center, the more impactful the journey is. Work journeys, like getting an approval or travel reimbursement or physical or digital workspace, is less impactful than the next circle of grow journeys. These have to do with our development and learning. The inner circle has the highest impact of live. These journeys are closest to our self-actualization and sense of belonging, and often impact others we care for. We're more likely to join a company when we perceive these experiences are good, and more likely to leave when they are not good. We don't join or leave for work journeys. And in the same way, we don't join or leave a company because it has good HR or bad HR. We also have the leave journeys, which are significant as well, how someone feels as they're leaving a company. Here's another way of looking at the human experience of work. We bring ourselves to our work with our hierarchy of needs and our goals. We encounter the work ecosystem and culture, which creates in us either met or unmet needs and satisfaction. We could also call this satisfaction engagement. This engagement is the result of how well our needs are met in our experiences. More on that later. Another key concept to understand about UX, CX, and EX is that the co-creation of experiences is a bottom-up process, quite different from the way we're used to working in traditional HR. Unlike our product development for our customers, we're used to doing things top-down in human resources. Why is that? When we don't often know exactly the needs or problems of our end users, we start at the top, setting strategy and requirements like for performance management or learning or onboarding or how we run job rotations or support teams. We set the strategy and requirements, and we hand these requirements off to a COE, which designs these based on our benchmark. And the business units and the regions implement those exactly as instructed. HR often measures compliance rather than more interesting metrics. We measure things like how many people are on the system, how many people have set a goal, how many people are at mid-year review, rather than the quality of those interactions. And what we get in the end is the original design. It's been maintained with minor tweaks. The solution may be 100% or 110% perfect, but it's never been tested yet in our environment. This new way of working with HX is co-creating with employees, and it starts from the bottom up. We define the problem with those who are closest to the source. We study, we research, we observe the who, what, where, when, and why, the behavior of people. We understand when and how they do their best work. Once we understand that, we co-create what works and we identify the experiences and the pains and gains that people have. When we have our solutions, we develop and test these rigorously before we launch them on a broad scale. Only after we've tested and made sure that we have the right solutions and we're dialed in, do we build our strategy and our processes and our ways of working. And we keep testing those continuously and making improvements. So what we have at the end is something that is a prototype that is very rigorously tested, but it may be only 80% perfect when we or complete rather when we launch it. But if you see the difference here, we have a solution which is complete but never been tested. This one has been tested and we have some assurance that it will work. So if we look at another element that helps us understand the prioritization of things, this is something that we call moments that matter. So out of all the end-to-end journeys or experiences, these are the moments that matter more. One definition of a moment that matters is a transformative point in time where someone does something that makes a lasting emotional impression on how we feel about them and our relationship with them and the system or culture that they're part of. Here's the most important thing to remember about moments that matter. Focusing on these allows us to concentrate on what has the greatest value and impact to both the business and people. Here's some examples of moments that matter from hundreds of workshops in a variety of companies. What do you notice? Here's a moment that mattered that was selected by a group who was talking about their joining experience. The moment that I receive a contract offer, does the boss or team reach out to me to make me feel welcome? In an onboarding experience, another group said that their moment that matters is the first meeting that I have with my team. Do I feel like I belong and can contribute? Notice that these are being expressed as a problem to solve for people. So moments that matter are typically selecting a particular problem that they are trying to solve. From an appraisal journey, a group selected this moment. Does my manager notice positive things I do outside of set objectives? Another group looking at the international assignment experience said, before I start, does someone help me create a budget for living in my new country? Another group doing parental leave experiences said that their moment is, in first few days after my announcement, does the organization offer to support me and help me organize my transition to leave? Another group said their moment is, in returning from leave, does my team make me feel welcome? Another group talking about their exit journey said their moment is, do I have an opportunity to pass on my key knowledge to someone important? And finally, an example from hybrid work. At the end of the day, how can I have enough time for my needs? These are some examples of moments that matter. Next up, Module 3, Part 2, what the human experience of work is and what it is not, will continue.